Well, welcome everybody to Golfzon Leadbetter University Virtual Summit. We've got a fantastic session lined up for you today with Andy Proudman and Piers Ward, the founders of Me and My Golf. We're so excited to have these two guys on. And when we were coming up with the concept of this virtual summit, we wanted to make sure that we covered all aspects of golf instruction. And there's no one who's maybe done more in recent years to perhaps take golf instruction forward into the new era than these two guys. So Andy, Piers, welcome to the session.
Thanks, Ben. It's great to be here. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, not a problem. So I know the UK locked down yesterday, so I'm over here in Florida, over at our world headquarters, and golf is still happening here. And unfortunately, I know that the coronavirus has struck again, right? So no golf in the UK at the moment.
No, there's petitions going around. Exactly. But luckily we're
not to share time with us. Perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah, we were at the course.
Luckily we're off to Bermuda tomorrow.
We are indeed,
okay.
Yes.
That's probably a wise. You might not be the only ones escaping. But
No.
This isn't about this presentation. This session is not about pandemic, although I'm sure we will talk about how you continue to run the business. As I said, I'm Ben Riches. I'm the CEO of Golfzon Leadbetter. It's a great pleasure to introduce and to moderate the session. The way this is going to work, we're going to hear from Piers and Andy. They've got a few ideas and some concepts around how to grow your coaching business online. And as I said a little earlier, that there are so many different facets to golf instruction, and we know that there's going to be golf coaches and golfers listening to this presentation who are maybe wondering how the two of these guys have developed such an amazing following and built the business up. And there's probably no golf instructor out there that hasn't thought about social media and how to use it and how to build a business online. And the world has changed. I think if we go back to the 90s when David was perhaps the pioneer in golf instruction with his old heavy camcorder and creating VHS videos and writing books. The concept of what you guys have brought to the table is actually maybe a modern version of what perhaps David started 20 years ago.
That's a nice compliment. That's a good compliment. But yeah, it's changed a lot, hasn't it? It's changed a lot, and we were lucky that I think, saw an opportunity in the early days, and were jobless. So it was the only direction that we could go. No, but it was an opportunity that we saw, and we thought, well, this is where the future's going to be. And then we'll talk about it as we go through this. But we just sort of went full steam ahead, and are very fortunate to have created a business online now, which has certainly created some interesting experiences and a good business for us that we probably didn't think that we could have 10 years ago.
Well, listen, before you get into the presentation, I think maybe it's worth it for any viewers that perhaps haven't heard of Me and My Golf. They must have lived under a rock, right? Because you seem to have gone everywhere these last few years. But explain how the two of you met, how you got together, maybe perhaps about your history as golfers and golf coaches.
Yeah, I mean, look, so myself and Andy have known each other. Andy probably knows more, I'm probably forgetting now, but over 25 years, I think. So we started playing junior golf together at a course called Oxley Park in the middle of Wolverhampton in the West Midlands. And, you know, we were half decent players, but no great shakes. And we did our PGA training. I was slightly ahead of Andy. And it was, you know, everyone said that the coaches say, you know, who wants to be a player? Everyone's hand goes up. Myself and Andy actually, you know, we didn't know this at the time, but we were one of the few who didn't put our hands up. We always liked the idea of coaching. So we loved coaching from a very early age. We were having lessons and we really enjoyed that. So we did our training, we went through everything, we passed our exams. Luckily, we passed the coaching part, which obviously is pretty important if you want to be a coach. And we always spoke about how could we run an academy together. And eventually we did the Three Hammers Golf Complex where Andy was already working. We had an opportunity to go in there and create an academy, which we did, and we did that for 6 years. And we now had some pretty lofty ambitions. We wanted to reach as many golfers as possible, all things you want to do. And we really did, you know, do a lot of change at the Three Hammers and saw we developed a very good academy there as a result. But I think what happened as we were doing this, we were realizing that, you know, we're going to run out of the opportunity to help people. So by that, I mean, we were seeing fitness coaches, people online on YouTube videos, reaching hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people watching their videos, and then sort of being able to reach them and influence their lives. So for ourselves, we're like, well, I wonder if you could do it for golf. So we started looking a little bit for golf, and we were seeing there were a few people out there. David had some videos up there, and there were other coaches who had videos up there. You know, Mark Crossfield was doing some stuff. And I think what we looked at there was an inconsistency of information, in that there was quite a lot of information, but perhaps it wasn't put through into a consistent way. And maybe even it was, you know, some of it was a little bit sort of haphazard, if we wanted to say. Obviously not the stuff from David, obviously that was good stuff, but we kind of felt that there was a way of actually creating some very simple, easy to put work along to content and just create some consistency. So there was definitely a gap in the market. So we decided, let's go for it. And this is the crazy thing. We signed our last 15-month contract at the academy, knowing we'd be leaving after 15 months. And obviously not for Leadbetter coaches, but for any other coaches who are out there who want to actually put up a really good, want to reduce their rent, it's a really good thing to say that you're leaving, because the landlord did everything he could to try and stop us going. He thought we were bluffing maybe or something, I don't know, but we weren't. We were going, so we went. But the objective was, we'd already sort of started Me and My Golf, but we wanted to go traveling. So we actually went for 3 months around the world, America, Australia, Hong Kong, and China, just visiting coaches, visiting golf courses, and just trying to learn from as many coaches as possible. So that kind of allowed us to do that. And, you know, during that time, we came up with the idea, obviously the name Me and My Golf before. I think we realized that watching Birmingham City beat Arsenal in the League Cup final in a sports bar in Cannock, you know, we came up with the name Me and My Golf, and it was a bit of a crazy one, that one for sure. But then, you know, when we got back from this traveling, we literally did not have a job. We didn't have a job. We wanted to, obviously we needed to earn some money. So we started to do some more coaching again, obviously, because that's what we love doing. But we were very careful not to fill our diaries with coaching, so we could go all into Me and My Golf. And yeah, we weren't paying ourselves very much money for a few years. So we did go all in, but definitely we were able to build things faster as a result of that. But it perhaps wasn't the most financially stable way to do it. But yeah, so from there, I mean, we've worked, you know, there were 3 of us in the beginning, then it very, very quickly became 4, and then literally we've got 10 people now in the business. So it's actually it's been amazing. It's beyond our wildest dreams, really. You know, we pinch ourselves pretty much. Can you
give us an idea of the scale? So maybe Andy, where did you start with? I don't know if you remember the first YouTube video you put up, or I'm sure you do, but what was where did you start from? Obviously you said there was nothing essentially, it was just a name and the 2 of you. And now can you just share with everybody the scale of your reach that you have as a business?
Yeah, I mean, the first YouTube video we did was actually a Rory McIlroy video. We put Rory up on there, and we just actually the swing analysis. It was just really basic. Let's shove that up there, because actually we're probably more comfortable with not being on camera. Then, so we put his swing up, talked over that, and that was it really. But then we committed to doing a video every week, and that was it. It took a little bit of time to grow. But I suppose the scale of what we built now is that the social media side of things is, I think we've got over 1.2 million followers from all across each platform. And as Piers says, now we've got 10 staff. We're just employing another potential 1 and maybe another 2 as well. 3 full-time editors in the business, a marketing manager, a social media marketing manager, a brand manager. So it's grown from, I suppose, essentially me and Piers just creating some videos and doing some of the editing ourselves, to now then branching out and going, well, to impact more people and to do what we do, it needed to grow into a business now that is much bigger. And that's been quite challenging, but at the same time, we love it. We love the problem solving, really. You know, I mean, we're coaches and we love solving golfers' problems, but we also love solving the other problems that come along with growing a team and a business and that side of things. So we've had to diverse our learning and our knowledge, not just from a technique side of things. It's, you know, we have to look at marketing, business, leadership, so many different aspects that it takes to actually run a business, which is very different from just being a golf coach.
Well, you're entrepreneurs essentially, right? It just happens to be in the golf coaching space. So you're going through those growth pains that, again, David would have done in the 80s, and started with David, then added 1, then added 2, and now we're at 40 academies and hundreds of coaches, and it grows. And then your challenge probably doesn't become how do you create the next great video. It's how do I run the business so that you two are still the personalities. And I'm sure we'll talk more about maybe the paths that you guys are on, and there are analogies and some similarities to what David's doing, but he's obviously our figurehead and our spokesperson, but there are now disciples of Leadbetter all over the world. So listen, I don't want to take away from the whole presentation, so I'm going to let the guys get going. If anybody listening has a question, then use the panel on the right hand side. You can post a question, I'll see it, and then I'll put it to the guys if we haven't already asked that question. There's a handout that you can see which has more information about upcoming sessions and the guys, and please sit back, enjoy. We're going to listen to the kind of the presentation, and then we'll kind of come back in and discuss maybe some of these areas. But the whole goal of this session is to help you listening to understand how to grow your own online business. So Piers, you have responsibility for these slides, so no pressure, but it's all.
Don't let me down, Piers. Don't let me down.
See if I can do the first step. Oh, look at that, it works. That'll do.
Okay, perfect. Right. I mean, I think it's a really important time at the moment to be talking about this as well, because with what's gone in the world with the pandemic, it's sort of forced everybody to think a little bit differently. And I think it's probably fast forwarded a lot of coaches 10 years and probably said, right, you need to do something now, because when you can't coach and you're relying on that as a revenue, then having a backup revenue is really important. And I think just what we'd like to start with really is the opportunities in terms of building a social following and an online following, the opportunities that come along with it that we didn't necessarily realize at the start when we were creating it. And I think just sharing the things that we've experienced and the opportunities that are available might just inspire you to really go a little bit more deeper into this, which can present a lot of opportunities from revenue and other things as well. So, I mean, the first thing for us, when we first left our academy, one of the main reasons that we wanted to leave also was that we didn't want to necessarily coach for 6 days a week on the driving range and be exchanging time for money. As much as we love coaching, we were like, I don't really want to do this for the next, until we're 60. So we were like, how can we explore growing a business where we can make money while we're asleep? And now social media is here. This is what it's allowed us to do. So multiple revenue streams. I know every single person, if you're a golf coach, and most other people actually want to earn multiple revenue streams. And certainly if something were to happen again where you're locked down, it's nice to have some backup. So we've been able to create that through our social media following. Just to give you an idea, we've been able to build 5 different revenue streams. And this might just give you an understanding of our sort of our revenue model and our commercial model. So first thing is we earn a revenue from AdSense. So that's ads from YouTube and Facebook. Now YouTube's our main model for that. Facebook's a relatively new model that we're just exploring. So we're going to be going a little deeper in that. And we've seen some decent growth and some decent revenue with putting adverts on some of the Facebook videos. That's a fairly new thing. So certainly you can earn the adverts from YouTube and from Facebook. The next thing is subscriptions. We have a website where people pay to be a member. They can join for a month, 6 month, or an annual membership. I suppose similar to a Netflix subscription, but that's a lot more personal plans and personal coaching on there. That's already online content. Doesn't necessarily require us to be there and deliver that content, but it's evergreen content that we can put on there that people can watch. We also sell products and services on there. So we sell digital downloads where people can buy let's say a Break 100 plan or a Fix Your Slice plan on there as well. And then we have the brand partners. So we have quite a few brand partners. Some of the main ones you'll see on the screen in the presentation: Adidas, TaylorMade, Audemars Piguet, and Audi. We're contracted to those guys. And then we have our coaching as well. So the 5 main ways that we earn a revenue there are obviously, are spread out there. So that's great from a business side of things. And when the lockdown did hit, it was great because we had the other ones there to back us up. And then we also saw the benefit of what lockdown had to the online stuff, because everybody's at home on their phone and sort of consuming content more.
Andy,
So-
just on those 5 streams, my assumption, you tell me if I'm wrong, is that you knew the 5th stream how to coach. Did you have any prior experience in any of the others? Did you have any kind of social media background to understand how to do it? Partnerships? Where did you start? Just give people an understanding. Both shaking your head. So
I think no, yeah. The answer is no. We didn't have a clue. And when we started, all we knew that we saw the vision and we saw the future and thought, well, if we can put great content out there consistently, then that's going to attract attention from other people. If we've got exposure, we know that that's power. So we knew that we knew that the brands would come. We didn't necessarily know what would come with them and how to deal with them, and that's still, I suppose, a learning process behind that. But it was just a matter of going all in and then figuring it all out. And I think somebody, even I mean, that's the same for just creating videos online. We didn't have a clue what we were doing. We were really uncomfortable at the start, didn't really feel, it was quite embarrassing really at the start, but we just threw ourselves in there and just said, let's just figure it out. Let's just do it, figure it out as we go. And we're still trying to figure it out as well. That's the thing. We don't feel like we've cracked it.
Come on, a little bit better.
Exactly. But it's all that process. And just by going in there and just having a sort of going all in, you just come across it and deal with it when it comes to you. But it's a slow burner.
Yeah.
So yeah, the revenue streams is massive from a business side of things, but also the other things that happen as a result of creating this following as well. So first of all, collaborations. We've had the opportunity to work with some incredible people. So you'll see on the screen here, we've got a world champion boxer, Tony Bellew. He was in the film Creed as well, if you've seen that. But Tony follows some of the stuff that we do, and he engages with us. And we sort of hit him up and said, "Do you want to do something?" We met him at a golf club. He actually hit a better first tee shot than us, Piers, which I was quite embarrassed about as well. But it's presented a lot of things. You'll see Sergio and Rory on there. If we didn't have that following and that exposure, we would never have been able to do with that. We're lucky every single year that we get to sort of go to a tailor-made photo shoot where we get to spend time with some of the best players in the world. Tiger's there, Rory, DJ, John Rahm, some amazing athletes that we get access to, and we're able to pick their brains and share that with our following and our community. And like I say, that wouldn't have happened. And we've done videos with Rory. Remember the first one that we did with Rory, and we looked at each other and went, how the hell have we ended up here? How's this even happened? But because we just focused on doing our thing and just providing value and content out there, it's amazing what it can do if you're consistent and you sort of just go all in.
Ironic, that's where you started, right? The swing analysis of Rory, and then you're with
exactly.
him. It's quite a good, great, probably a great journey that people can see that you may not know where the end's going to be, but that first step is probably so key, isn't it?
I've never thought of it like that. That's good. I've not thought of it like that. And I mean, even with David as well. Obviously, we've looked up to David for a long time, and there's an interesting story with how I suppose we got to know you, Ben, and that you don't know probably as well, really. That when David first brought out the A swing, me and Piers watched it on I think it was on YouTube actually, and we said, this is a really interesting concept. Let's understand it a little more, and let's us do our own version of it, helping people understand what this A swing is all about. And me and Piers looked at each other and said, right, I'll tell you what, why don't we make this content so good that somehow David sees it and wants to do something with us? And we had that conversation, and then we obviously put the video out there, and then I was going through my emails, and I saw an email from you, and you were inviting us. You'd seen it, and I think you'd said that David had seen it, and then you invited us to meet David in Scotland. And there's that, we had this experience of meeting one of our idols as a golf coach that, again, wouldn't have happened without doing that. But this was our mentality. Well, let's put great content out there, and we even said, let's see if we can get David to see it. And luckily enough, he did. And then our relationship, over the last few years has been great, where we've done quite a few things with you, which has been fantastic, and great experiences. Interviewed David, done several things with him, and it's been fantastic as well, really.
Oh, that's great. Well, it's good to hear. And from our side of that story, we were saying, well, who's picking up? Who's interested in this A swing? We were looking at how many books we'd sold and who was watching the videos. And I was like, there's these guys, me and my golf, have got more hits on their explanation of the A-swing than we have on our original A-swing video. It's like, well, there's something in this. And so it's amazing how, I guess, the social media world has just changed everything. Because David's first book, I guarantee that didn't happen. Whereas now on his 8th book, actually it's everything else that goes around it just completely changes everything, right? It's a different market now, I guess.
Yeah, it's totally different. It's totally different. But it's just funny how things turn out when you just put good value, good content to help people in there. You know, we wouldn't have had that email off you if we didn't think about things differently and just do something a bit different, really. And then the final thing, obviously, great experiences there. I mean, the final thing is what we do it for. The most important thing is impact. You know, we got into this business because we wanted to help people, and yes, we've created a business around it. Our focus isn't on the business as much. This is why we're setting up the team around us, but our focus is generally how are we going to help people? How are we going to help our members get better? How are we going to help people who are watching this YouTube video or Instagram video or Facebook video really get better and change their lives, really? And that might sound quite corny, but this is exactly what we love to do. And when we're lucky enough to travel around the world and we go to a golf club and somebody says, I watched that video on this and that really helped me, there's no better feeling from that we can impact someone from a completely different country and make a difference to their lives as well. And this video actually is a great example of something that's probably really helped us gain a lot of traction. This video probably took us 15 minutes to plan, 15 minutes to film, 2 hours to edit, and it's created 9 million views. And I mean, just to give you an idea of this video as well, and maybe for the coaches in this is a YouTube video that we did in 2013, Piers?
13, yep.
13. And the revenue from this video, just this video alone, would be well over $25,000 just from this video. Now, if you think about that, it took us no more than 3 hours for the whole thing to get done. But because it sits on a platform, not only does this consistently bring people into our following, but it consistently earns a revenue while we're not doing anything. So again, for the power of, if you're a golf coach and you're thinking, I'd like to do this, putting content out there, it's a great opportunity to not only help more golfers, but also earn money while you sleep and earn a revenue and create a different type of business model, really. This is the sort of modern way of doing it.
I think what you struck on there, Andy, is so interesting, and it probably runs true with all of our coaches or anyone who's teaching, probably, is that you didn't set out a target to get 9 million views on a YouTube video to make 25 grand, right? You said, we're going to create something that's going to help people, and that should become the center for this, because content for the sake of content probably doesn't have the same impact. If this was a terrible video, then you wouldn't have 9 million viewers. So I think there's something quite important in that.
Yeah, it is, and it's strange how some videos do better than others. I mean, this video's, it's okay, it's decent, it's not groundbreaking stuff, but it just shows the power of what you can get out there. And I know for a fact that every single golf coach out there, if they, for 3 hours work there, it's a big revenue earner. And I think for us, making that decision a long time ago to not be in a situation where we have to exchange time for money all the time, it was a real game changer for us, and it opened our mind to think about different possibilities, really. But yeah, it's I mean, they're the main. I think the key thing is that we want to really stress how much scope there is from not only building a business, but having a great life and building some great experiences, great network of people. There's so much that's come along with this that we never knew was possible. And when, if you'd have said we'd done this 10 years ago, we'd have probably laughed and said we just can't see that. But it's great to sort of share this with other people to really show what actually they can do, really. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide, which is really how to do it. There's a few points on here. I'll make sure I keep it fairly brief because we could go on for hours on this. But what I would say is that this isn't us saying that we know exactly what we're doing. These are the things that we've done that we feel that really work, and we're always changing. We don't feel that we've cracked it. We're constantly trying to improve, and we're tweaking things all the time, measuring and changing our direction all the time. But I think these key things, when we look at what's been allowed us to do what we've done, there's some key things in there that really work. So first one, I'll start from the top and work around add value. I mean, that says it all for us. This is one of our core values at Me and My Golf, and it's probably the the backbone of everything. Every video that we create, every piece of content generally is about helping somebody. And we always say, how is this going to add value to somebody's life? You know, so any piece of content that we do, we're always talking about that. So if you can really, and there's a quote for me, a Zig Ziglar quote, and he says, if you can make, let me just think about what it was actually. You can have anything you want in life if you help enough people get what they want. And I think it's a great quote, because our focus is always on about what we can do for other people, and all the other stuff comes as a result of that, instead of going, how can I create a business and get money in? It's always the opposite way around for us. It's always about adding value and trying to get people better. Okay, second one is be consistent. When we first started the YouTube channel, we said, right, let's just commit to being consistent. Let's put a video up every single week. Let's do it for 2 or 3 years, and let's see what happens. We weren't after a quick buck. We weren't after a quick hit or whatever. We just said, let's be consistent. Let's deliver some great stuff, and let's just see what comes out of it. And I think that's a real key thing for there. Sounds quite boring, but consistency. You know, if you can deliver that on a regular basis, and even that's with your message as well, what's important to you as a business and as a coach.
This may be connected. You might say, oh no, it's complete nonsense. But obviously, you guys have a style, right? And there's a consistency with the way you look. Was that from the beginning? Did you guys dress the same right at the start, or was that something that's kind of evolved as Adidas starts giving you matching shirts?
We had to wait for Adidas to give us more clothes, I think, that would match. We just wore what they gave us to start with.
It wasn't the same.
No, it wasn't the same. You like that Golf Swing Made Simple. That's our top video, and we're wearing different clothes. Maybe there's something in that, but no, it was very much to do with, you know, the whole story with getting on board with Adidas was literally, and I'll tell you quickly, we had no money. We'd come back from traveling. We needed some new shoes. We wore FootJoy before, and they said, oh yeah, you can have them at trade. And I'm like, going, hang on a bit, we've got no money here. We can't afford trade. We need to actually get some free ones. So Adidas, we got in touch with those guys. They were very, very good. They started giving us a bit of stuff, but it wasn't matching. And then eventually it got bigger and bigger. We said, look, can we have matching this time? And they're like, yeah, great, go for it. So
it's interesting, only because it's very relevant. It's conversations we have, is that David has a look, right? He has a signature, and this was going back to when he was working with Mark McCormack. So David was fortunate in his era. He had Mark McCormack explaining, you know, for those who don't know, he's the founder of IMG and one of the kind of pioneers in sports marketing, if you like. And he'd just done the kind of Jack Arney, Gary Player trio, and it was all about marketing. But maybe this will be a test for you in the future, that if people took away Me and My Golf as a name and just saw the two of you, there's two guys dressed the same delivering golf videos, is that become, you know, that starts to become your signature, I would think.
I think sure. And do you know what the good thing is for us is that when generally people see us, they don't call us, well, they do call us Piers and Andy, sometimes other things, but they say, there's the Me and My Golf boys. So it's sort of, you know, and that's what we wanted, because when we did this, we said we didn't want it to be the Piers and Andy show, although it is. We wanted to create a brand around that could sort of go on, really. So that was a decision that we wanted to make, because again, from a scalable thing as well, we wanted to create a brand that wasn't just Andy and Piers.
It wasn't. Yeah. Listen, I keep interrupting. I know you've got other bits.
No, it's good. It's good. I want to get through. I want to make sure we can get everything in, but I'll run through these fairly fast. So the next one is be social. This is something that actually we're not that good at. And I think, like I said, we haven't got it all figured out. A lot of the things that we do is all about value and helping people. But one of the things I'd say is that people really like to connect and buy into people. And don't be afraid on your social channels to show a little bit of the social side of things, because people like people that are very similar to themselves. And if all you show is your coaching side of things, then you're missing out on connecting with other people as well. So I think just showing that and showing some social side behind the coaching will actually help you connect with some other individuals. Again, that's something that we need to do more of, but we're so focused on trying to help people, we forget that to do some of these on some occasions. The next one, passionate. I mean, that says it all. The biggest compliment we get is that people say that they can tell that we care. And all I would say is just bring the enthusiasm when you're in the videos. You know, it's so easy when you've got a camera on you to sort of go into yourself a little bit, but just really see if you can deliver that enthusiasm and really care about the person behind the camera. And I think that's something that we focus on all the time. We don't even see the camera now. We just imagine that we're coaching a golfer. So I'll just say bring the enthusiasm when it comes to that. Emotion. This is something, again, that we're touching on a little bit more so now. And instead of just thinking about how is this going to help somebody, a lot of the things that we talk about is how is it going to make them feel. I've got a book that I'm reading at the moment, actually, which might be quite useful to people. So this is called Contagious. This is talking about sort of how to build word of mouth in the digital age. This talks about really how to impact more people and how to get people talking about your content. So that's a great recommendation. And that could be for how me and Piers or you guys are delivering the content. You might be putting music in there to make people feel. You might put some humor in there. There's lots of different ways you can do that. But one of the questions me and Piers will discuss now is, how's it going to make somebody feel? Not just how is it going to help somebody. So we'll have that discussion. Engage. Obviously, we want to engage with the audience. That means looking straight down at the camera, having some close-ups, asking them questions. I mean, it goes without saying, really, but really engage with them as much as you can. Collaborations is key. One of the things that really helped us in the early days, we asked Mark Crossfield, who was doing it a little bit sort of better than us, or he'd been doing it longer. We said, do you want to do something? And we had a match, and that sort of sparked a little bit of growth for us and put our name out there. But just by asking and doing things with other coaches, it really helps. Not only do people really love to see the collaborations between them, it really just sort of mixes the audiences and helps you grow as well, really. Measuring performance. We have, just to give you an idea, we've got one guy, Sean, who looks after all our YouTube stuff. He does the filming, the editing, but he's regularly measuring every sort of parameter that's on there. He knows drop off after 10 seconds. He knows the click rate. There's so many different measurements that he's looking at to help us understand how we can do a better job. And with all these platforms now, they all have these metrics. So I'd say regularly measure, because then you know what to improve. And people have got less and less attention. So we need to figure out a way of grabbing their attention. So by measuring the performance of these things, it helps us do that. The next thing is understand the platforms. This is really understanding where your market is as well. So if your market, if your niche, let's say, is going to be senior golfers, then you're not going to post your content on TikTok, for instance. So it's understanding your market, your niche, where you're going to specialize, and then understanding where they live. So if you were going to target senior golfers, you may want to look at Facebook and maybe YouTube, maybe LinkedIn or something like that. So it's understanding the demographic that you're trying to serve and then matching that to where they're going to be as well. So understanding the platforms that your niche, your demographic is on. And first of all, understanding what your niche is a really important thing. Who are you trying to serve? What's your sort of ideal demographic? And then final one is huge. Give them what they want. Don't give them what you think they need. This is something that we always talk about. We call it the McDonald's theory. We're always trying to give people what they want, because if you imagine walking into a McDonald's and asking for a Big Mac and somebody's trying to serve you a salad, you're going to go somewhere else. So I suppose the golf side to think about this is, if you're trying to, we know that strategy and mindset is really important for the golf course, but there's not many golfers who really want that. They need it really, really bad, but they don't necessarily want that. They want to spin their chip shots from 10 yards off the green. They want to fix their slice with a really, simple tip. It might not be the best thing always, but we want to deliver what they want. But when they're in there, give them a little bit of what they need as well. So it's not just serving them what they want, serve them what they want, but serve them what they need in there as well. Don't give them what you think they need.
I think that's so insightful. I guess that starts to link back, doesn't it? Because if your performance of a video is poor, then maybe one of these other areas within this wheel has not been right. So perhaps you haven't added value, or you weren't consistent, or whatever. It didn't give them what they want. You said, we're going to help kill your slice, but then you started talking about poor putting or something, right? So some of that maybe is quite obvious, but it's a really, really helpful for you to explain that. And I'm sure people kind of sitting at home, this gives them a guide, I guess. Maybe they've got to go do it, but it's really interesting you developed that theory. I think it's great.
And this is what we just ask ourselves all the time, Piers, isn't it? We discuss these all the time, and we're looking at, oh, this is, I suppose this is our recipe for what we do. That is constantly changing. We're constantly learning. We never rest on, we've just nailed it. We're always looking to improve these, and I'm sure there's probably a few more that we could probably put in there as well, but.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting. I mean, how are we doing for time, Ben? Are we going to be okay to keep going through the normal?
Yeah, keep going. Let's go. Let's move it to the next topic here.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, hopefully you've got a notepad and a pen for all of this here, and gives us hopefully there's some decent information for you here. But I think you just alluded to it a little bit there, Ben, about sometimes the hardest thing to do when we are looking at creating content is just starting, literally going, right, I need the balls now to go, right, I'm just going to put myself in front of a camera and I'm going to talk, and getting rid of all the negative thoughts in your head and just saying, look, I'm just going to put something out there and let's see if we can just get some people just interacting with us. So what we wanted to do was just give you a few must-dos when you are posting. So there are some things that you have to do really just to sort of, to give yourself the best possible chance, because if we think about it, when people are scrolling on their phone, you're competing with The Rock or Kim Kardashian. So you've got to give people a reason to watch your content. So we've got something we call the 4 greats. So these are obviously just different phases of the video or at the end. So as we said, it is pretty much video based on this. And I think that's really helpful now with, if we think about all of the platforms, with the exception of maybe LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you can get away with more image. But if we think Facebook, Instagram, obviously YouTube, it has to be, you know, it is really about video now, and that's what people want to consume. That's what's, you know, top search engines, so on and so forth. So yeah, the first one, a great start. So as I said, you are dealing with, you know, people scrolling over. You need to make sure you can get a compelling beginning, and it starts actually with the image that you put up there. So the cover image. So for instance, on Instagram, when you edit and upload the video, you have the option in the bottom right of your phone to actually have the cover. You want to be picking the most compelling part of that video to go there. So if you're talking about someone swinging over the top to stop the slice, you know, get the part where the club is swinging steep over the top, so you can then use that as the part that's going to get them on the hook. Because if someone's slicing it and they're aware of this over the top, they're going to go, okay, well, I want to watch this. So then once you've done that, it's all about the first 5 seconds. And it's getting shorter and shorter through time. It used to be about the first minute, but now it's about the first 5 seconds. So you've got to be compelling at the beginning. You've got to get straight into it. So there's no point in, and we've been guilty of this. When, hi, it's Piers from Me and My Golf. I'm here with Andy Proudman. We hope you're having a fantastic day. It's a beautiful day here at Champions Gate. The weather's out. Right. They're gone. So you need to tell them straight away what they're going to get out of the video. So how we talk about all the time, how we can change their life. It sounds quite idealistic, but that's what we're trying to do effectively. So how are we going to change their life? Let them know what they can expect, and then just let them know what actions they need to take from this. So first 5 seconds, tell them exactly what's going to be happening in that content. And then when we go into the next bit, which is the great content. So you want to make sure, obviously, you're giving them something which is going along the lines of the McDonald's theory. So often you'll find that things like putting and chipping, I mean, chipping is getting a little bit better now, but talking about mindset, which we know is massively important as golf coaches, it's really quite difficult to give that information if you're not a specialist in that. So if you are a specialist in that, Dave Aldred, I know, has done some stuff with you guys, but if you've got, or Dr. Bob, if you've got these guys who are specialists talking about performance through the brain, then that's fine. But when it comes to a golf coach like myself and Andy maybe, who has an understanding of this, if we stand there and talk about, you know, mind performance on the golf course, it's going to be a little bit tricky. So giving them what they want obviously is very important. There are a few things that we need to make sure that you have, like audio has to be really good. It's amazing how many videos we had at the beginning where we would struggle with audio and people would say, great content, but I had to stop watching because the audio was rubbish. So best you can, if you can get like a wind mic, it's really, really simple now. The equipment that you can get for filming, it really is good. So make sure the audio is really good. This is going to contradict what I just said a little bit, because subtitles are important. And if we actually look, some of the figures now that you see on Instagram and Facebook, people watching their video, it's almost 85% of people now who aren't watching it with sound. But obviously, those 15% of people, we need to make sure we've got good audio. But if we think about it, that's probably people at work. It could be when your partner's asleep and you're in bed watching these videos. So making sure you've got subtitles, that's really important. You can spend the time and edit them yourself. But on Facebook and Instagram, you can actually put those subtitles in now. They don't always work, which actually is quite comical. You can get some funny words, and you can imagine what happens when you put Piers in there. Often a different word comes out, so you can have a little bit of fun with that and adds a little bit of humour into it.
Or it depends on your Brummie accent, I guess, whether you can understand.
Of course, indeed. But yeah, absolutely. And then I think there's a few things that you can do in the edit as well. And something that we're doing a lot more now is what we call jump cutting. So if I'm talking for, I don't know, 3 minutes with Andy about how to stop a slice, if we're showing them us teeing up the golf ball, or us having a pause in our speech, or us, just, admiring a shot, whatever, that can be a point when, again, you can lose people. The attention spans now are crazy. So if you can keep jumping and missing out those little 1 or 2 second spots in the video where they're not getting anything, it's just dead space. It looks quite cool from an editing point now, especially with people consuming YouTube videos all the time. They see these jump cuts all the time, but it also keeps them on the hook for longer. Yeah. And again, absolutely. So again, from the delivery of the actual post, again, you want to be in there sharp. You want to be not messing around. You want to be talking, getting into the information as soon as you can. We mix around between talking problem solution and then just going solution. And we're finding more with the short-term videos that actually the solution, just get into that real quickly. The thing for myself and Andy is we always want to be helping them and saying, well, the reason the club face is open is because of this, this, and this. But sometimes they kind of have got an idea what that is. They just tell me how to fix it, tell me how to change it. So again, short attention spans.
So it's a fascinating structure. Sorry, Piers, but I was saying, do you ever find yourselves cutting out maybe content you think, I have to tell them this because it's so important, but actually my editor's saying it's just going to add another 10 seconds, so it's gone? Who wins the editing argument on that?
Sean probably wins it more often than not now in YouTube, for sure. Because we want to give him ownership of that. But yeah, he will probably win that argument more often than not now.
I think the interesting side of it is that we're coming at it from a golf coach perspective, and Sean's coming at it from a human entertainment perspective. So often now we'll just go, okay, Sean, we're happy with that. We don't necessarily like it because we always want to explain everything, and we go, okay, well, this happens, and we want to make people understand. But actually, again, it's giving people what they want. And even though we want to make them understand it, sometimes they don't want to. It's
right.
So it's like,
but then maybe that's the answer is you have a portfolio of products, right? So if they want longer form, they're going to go to your game plans and whatever. So it's probably understanding the medium that you're communicating on.
Definitely, and that's hard for us.
It's good for us as well because it disconnects the social content from the paid wall. So when you go behind the paid wall, there's definitely going to be more understanding of what reasons why. And I suppose it's for us, we've made the assumption that as soon as they're paying for something, that they really are prepared to go in a little bit deeper and understand it more.
Right.
So again, still continuing with the great content or ideas on this. So Andy alluded to it. I mean, you're just being yourself. Actually not trying to imitate somebody. So if we think of George Gankas, obviously is fantastic, and he's off the chain, obviously, but he is an exceptional golf coach, but he's got his style of doing it. So if you are someone who is like George, or even if you're someone, there's an assistant who works at the course where we coach, he's quite blunt, and it's like if he were to do anything on content, we spoke to him and say, look, you have to be that way because that's the way that you are. Don't try and change that. So the way that you are, just amplify it to the best version of yourself, and that will be the best way. It's the only way to be credible long term and have longevity, for sure. And also be connecting with the camera. So being as close to the camera as possible is a good thing. So if you can start your videos close to the camera And then by the time you're about to sort of demonstrate movements in the golf swing, then you can move further away. The more you can be connecting with the camera and engaging with the camera, the better, the better for you. And then actually talking about engagement and creating that engagement, you ideally want to try and create some engagement in the video. So you can do it in the copy, we'll talk about that later. But actually, if you are into the video, let's say you're doing a 3-minute Instagram TV video, IGTV video. So you would get into the content and you'd say, great, okay, we're going to talk about the slice, we're going to stop the over the top, and here's the key things we're going to talk about. And then you go, boom, right, make sure if this is valuable to you and you think it might help your friends, make sure you share with them. So if you can find a way of getting a share mechanism in, fantastic. But even it might be just like, if you're enjoying this, I'm new to this, please help me out, hit the like, leave us a comment. It would really help me with my content reach more people. And as long as you're offering value, it's so easy for someone to say, hit the like button and then just go, thanks so much, really enjoyed that, because it obviously just elevates their content. And again, as long as you're offering the value, they'll be fine to do that.
And being authentic, I guess, right? I think that's what comes. Yeah, you talked about how you want them to feel. If they like you, they're gonna like you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you need to be as genuine as you can when you're going through that. And then one thing that we never used to do at the beginning, so be human. So humans make mistakes. So if we did a video, we literally would be there. We'd probably have one camera set up. If we were talking for 8 minutes, and it might be in the beginning, me and Andy did the videos individually. We might be there talking in an 8-minute video. We might get to 7 minutes 30, make a mistake, and then go, nope, we've got to start all over again. So we'd start the video again, and we're like, it's just a waste of time. And actually making a mistake is actually a really good thing, because people go, oh, you are human. It's not TV. It hasn't got to be as polished as TV. It's just got to have great information, which you are knowledgeable about and you're giving value. So actually messing up and making a mistake is a good thing. So one of the best videos we put up on Facebook over the last couple of weeks is me talking about pitching over a bunker out of a horrible lie. The first one goes straight into the bunker. And it's amazing how many people, the rest of them are good though, by the way. It's amazing how many people comment on that and go, oh, it's great to see that you are human, you put it in there. Because I think amateur golfers see professionals, they see us coaches, they don't see us as good as Rory McIlroy, but they still think we don't really make that many mistakes. So I think it's really good in connecting to show them that we do make mistakes, and that's just natural, human beings. Okay, so let's go into the great finish. Again, if you've got a way of promoting something else, so this is where it comes into, I would look at and my advice to anyone would be, if they wanted to do more online lessons, virtual lessons, so COVID-proof golf coaching effectively, that if you want to, online lessons are a really powerful way to do this. And obviously you guys have got your way of doing this, which is great. But if you want to create a buzz for that content, you need to show the people what you can do. So that's why you need a great start, you need great content, show them how you can help them. But then at the finish of it, you need to have a great finish in that you have to just promote yourself and say, look, if you want any online lessons from myself, just send me a message, DM me, whatever that message is, however you want to put it across, and just show off your services that way. Because if they're still watching for 2 minutes 50 into a 3-minute video, if they're still watching, then they're liking what they see. That's a really good time then to be okay and say, look, the last 10 seconds, I can sell, and I can sell them, what I want them to do from here. And then also call to actions. Again, it might be share with your friends. It might be just hit like, leave a comment, or it could be that, ask us a question, ask us a question, because that's really important as well. We'll talk about that later on in the presentation. So then when it comes to really finishing it off, we're talking about the great copy. So if we think about, again, when you're scrolling on your phone, the one thing that you'll see the image, you'll see the first line and a bit of the copy, and then you'll see more. If they're having to press more, if the detail is, if the great detail in your copy is in more, it's over, because that's not going to be compelling enough. The great detail has to be at the beginning. So it might be using lots of emojis. It might be getting them on the hook with a compelling statements like, do you duff your chips? Do you yip your putts? Give them a compelling reason to go, oh, wow, I need to watch this because I yip my putts. So you're giving them a really compelling reason at the beginning, using some emojis, so it sort of stands out to them. In the copy as well, again, I mentioned it a little bit in the finish there, but ask them for help. Ask them for content which is helping you. So just say to them, say, look, here's a video on chipping. You know, I've got loads of great ideas on putting. If you want any questions on putting, please let me know. And then you can go through that. You can again have them feed your content. It's one thing that we did very early, is we were going, right, okay, people are actually asking us questions here. Let's use their questions to create content. And that's the best way to snowball, because you're doing the McDonald's theory, you're giving them what they want. And again, just be humble in there and say, look, we really appreciate you watching this video. Thank you so much. It'd be great if you could leave a comment, if you could hit the like button. Again, you're asking them after you've served them to help you grow, which they'll be more than happy to do if you've served them well.
Piers, is this consistent across all channels? I know you have different content, but maybe you can explain kind of the different types of content and how that plays out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so what we would do, I mean, Andy's going to go through the different types of content in a moment in more detail. But as far as these 4 greats, it applies to everything. It really does. So whether you're doing a YouTube video, whether you're doing a Twitter video, I mean, we used to have on Instagram, you probably remember, it used to be 15-second window. So we used to have the 15-second swing fix. That had some great bloopers. As trying to fix, a sway in 15 seconds was hilarious sometimes. But even in that, there in the copy below, you want to make sure that you're giving them a reason to continue to follow you and continue to engage with you.
Come on in, Andy. Let's have a look at the content. Piers has set you up here.
I'll set you up for
Okay, perfect. Just what time do we need to be finished for, Ben? Because we've got quite a bit to go through.
I think we can keep going. We're breaking every rule that you've just said about being concise and being on point.
Okay.
So we'll show them how not to do it in this summit.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I mean, different types of content. First of all, on the platform side of things, you need to just understand what type of content is going to serve which type of platform. So for instance, YouTube is more of a long video platform. So we will put videos on there I'd say generally between 8 and 15 minutes. So, and that's also good from that sort of fits with YouTube as well. They like to have people on there more because they can advertise them more as well. So it's better for revenue if the video is longer. But for us anyway, because you can't shut us up a lot of the time, that fits our style better as well, sort of 10 minutes to 15 minutes. Then you've got Facebook, which is more of the scroll 3-minute one. So people aren't going on Facebook searching for how to, but they're scrolling and coming across 2 to 3 minute videos that they can quickly watch. Same on Instagram. So it's just understanding what type of content can go where on which platform, and the video length and how people consume it really. The different types of content, I would say again, this is something that we're experimenting. We've certainly changed a lot over the last 12 months, because a lot of what we were doing was just video based, and it was just me and Piers delivering coaching as presenters and as instructors. And I think one thing that we've done recently is change up the content quite a lot. Now, it's so easy for us to stick a camera on and do video. It's the easiest thing to do, but we mix it up now with quite a lot of variety in there. We'll do some image quotes on there that are relatable to the average golfer. We'll do some before and afters of real lessons. You can see on the screen here, these are real lessons that in person that we've done with, I suppose not real live ones, but during a lesson. We'll do a roundup, and this is what we've done before, this is what we've done after. Because I think one thing that we're really coming to realize more so now is that people want to really see amateur golfers. They want to see the amateur golfers, their journey on getting better, because they can't relate to a coach. They can't relate to a professional, because this professional is just not in the same level of them from a golf coaching standpoint. But if they can see Steve Smith, who's an 18 handicap with the same problem that he's got, and go, I do the very same thing, and that looks like a great drill, and I've seen the results, it's so much more powerful. And the one on here which we've done recently, we've done quite a few on YouTube recently, where we're just doing live lessons instead of me and Piers just going, okay, here's how to fix the sway. What we're doing is we're getting some of our members of the website to turn up and go, right, we're going to help you out today. It's going to be a live lesson, and we're just going to do what we do and record it, And the impact that has had so far has been great, because people go, it's so good to see you coach a real person instead of actually just deliver the content and you hit nice shots all the time. They want to see the connecting, they want to see themselves in that person, and they often go, okay, I do the same thing and I can do that. So just creating a lot of,
I mean, it's really, sorry, and it's relatable, and I guess it gives them another reason to watch, because you might say, okay, it's you next, like you've got a chance to now be in this, which I think that's great. That's a great way of tying the message back, probably.
I think it gives them hope as well. It gives them hope that they can do something. I always remember David saying a quote a long time ago. I think it was Eli Calloway said to David that we're in the business of selling hope.
Right.
That stuck with me for a long time. And if people can see other golfers doing it, that gives them the hope that they can achieve it as well. So using other people in the coaching and in the lessons and in the content is massive as well. And just vary it up. And like I said earlier, being social on there as well, showing a picture of you. If that's your thing, showing a picture of you and your family. What do you like? What don't you like? You know, if you've got a personal brand, and if you're trying to grow a personal brand, then make it personal. You know, get things that are about you on there as well, because people are going to be able to connect more with that really as well.
There's been a few questions come in, which is actually quite relevant here, especially as we're trying to stay on our time, I guess. But quite a few people have asked how important the graphics are, and how. Well, firstly, there's a few people have said, how do you do them? But you may not want to give away your trade secrets. But how important are graphics to get message across more quickly?
I mean, for us, I think they're massive. I think from the comments that we get from YouTube, we only really use the graphics on the YouTube and the website because it conveys, we're going to talk about it if we get to it in a bit as well. We talk about concepts a lot, and if golfers have poor concepts, they're going to have poor motion. So for us, it really helps paint the picture of the concept that they are trying to achieve in their mind. And if they have the right concept, the motion that they are trying to create is so much better. So for us, and from the feedback that we get, it really does add a lot. What I would say is that, graphics aside, the production is less important, and we're sort of, I wouldn't say we're moving away from the production, but people don't necessarily care how well it's produced. They just want to, they care about the result, and they want to connect with the people behind it. So it doesn't have to be polished. Piers mentioned it earlier, it's not TV. It doesn't have to be like TV. And it's social media for a reason. It's sociable, and they want to feel that they're almost on that sort of journey and that personal sort of feel with it. So I would say the production, don't worry so much on the production. If you want to put graphics in to showcase a concept, amazing. If you want to use props, amazing. We don't do that because we don't know, we haven't got a clue what to do with that. That our editors make those look good for us, but I think if you're trying to convey concepts, using props and using graphics is a good way. If you've got the time, it's time consuming.
Yeah.
It's in Final Cut. We do everything in Final Cut, a little bit of stuff in Motion. But I think the A-swing video that we did, that I remember the graphics in that, lots of white, lots of blue, and it was just perfect because it was really descriptive. And I think as long as if you can tell a story, if you've got the time to do it, it's worth doing.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay, Piers, do you want to move on to the next one? I know I'm conscious that we can get through this. I want to see if we can get through it and give everybody the value. I want to deliver the value, Ben.
It's all about the value.
That's exactly. You got to practice what you preach, right?
Exactly.
It won't take me long to go through this one here, but just driving revenue. So how can we actually get you now to get some revenue out of this? Giving you a few sort of things already there. Andy mentioned about the lessons, just showing lessons before the drill that you did and then afterwards is huge, because it can just get people to, it's your showcase then to other people watching to see how you got that person better. But if you look on the left, we can see there straight away the selling and providing value. And we kind of broke our rules a little bit on this one, on this image that we have here. But just so you know, we didn't ask for a penny off anybody for about 4 years. So it probably took us about 4 years to actually say to people, other than TaylorMade and Adidas, obviously, and the brands, but as far as the consumers, people watching our content, we didn't ask anything for any money for 4 years. Now, that's because we want to create value, and I think that's what people need to do at this stage here. So you can go, so if we look at this grid here, there's obviously 9 posts. So I would say to start with, if you are doing this, if you want to create as much value as you can, I'd say to start with 8 of those posts need to be value, and then put a sell in there. So give, sell. And then if you can then get to a point where you've got more services and you're adding more value, then you start to put the sell more into that. But the reason we've got so much sell on this grid here is just because we're in the middle of launching a coaching plan, which was high impact, talking a lot about, it was complete chipping, a lot of talk about chipping, and there were just some fun bits in there. So as much as they are sells, they're still clips of the content. Or we've got our social media manager there, who was an amazing actor. Go and check some of those out. He was in duffs, thins, and putting from 40 yards, and he was actually hilarious doing it. But making sure that you create the value first. Again, we were 4 years without asking for any money. Appreciate you won't want to last as long as that, but you could go out there now and create 5 pieces of content, and then by the time you get to the 5th one, you could be asking, look, I've got online lessons, are you interested? So you can get into it relatively quickly, but just make sure you offer the value. You'll see to the right there, that's something there we've got called Linktree. So this is just the link in the bio in Instagram. So it just gives us an option there to offer our services in there. So it could be a free video series that you've offered. It could be a link to your website, or it could be a link to your online lesson page. It could be a link to your online diary system. It's whatever you want to go in there. Just make sure that you're set up when you start asking them you're asking to sell them something. Make sure you can just you are ready to do that basically. But again, just give them value, and then through time start to put the sell into it. I can go on forever on that, but I'm not going to go too much into it more.
No, listen, it's great. What's really clear is that it's so clear you have a plan. So you don't just switch that camera on and start filming. You've planned out prior to it, maybe a month out or however long out you're planning. And so everything has a purpose. That's probably a really key takeaway. Hopefully people have heard.
Yeah, for sure. And don't be afraid to sell, obviously, when it's the right time, because we always, selling is serving them. So you are helping them by selling to them, because you're going to give them a better product and make them better at golf. So, which is what we're here for.
Brilliant.
Okay, we've got one more slide. We got time for one more slide. Okay.
Cool. Andy. We're all ears.
Thank you, Ben. So I mean, this is really, when we look at this and think about, well, what are the key things that we think about when it comes to making people better online? When we first got into the Me and My Golf sort of coaching side of things online, we were like, is this really going to help people? Because people can misconstrue things and go away and work at the wrong things. And we're like, well, back to giving what they want. People are going to go online and search for content anyway. Let's just put as much good stuff and do as good a job we can to make them better. So these are the things that we probably do that really gives us the best chances of getting people better, really. So the first one is keep it simple. The majority of people who like and watch our content, they say, we love how simple you make it. And I think one of the things that we would say is people don't care about what you know. They just care about getting the results. And I think a lot of coaches online some coaches online will tend to want to show that they know a lot about the golf swing and they know a lot about the science. And I think you've got to be very careful in that, is because that people just want to get the results. And if you start talking about flexion, extension, external rotation in the downswing, and you go, well, look, does Jane, who's a grocery worker, know what all that means? It's like, well, we've got to put it across in a really simple way so they can actually improve, instead of trying to show them what we know. They don't really care what we know. They just come to us and go, how can you help me? Do you have something practical that I can take away from this that's going to impact me in a better way? So for us, we're always going, how is this going to be simple? How can we deliver it in a way that they understand it and they can do it, or do it when we're not there? So repeat it when we're not there. The next thing is fix the ball flight, not the golf swing. We get so many people sending videos, messaging in saying, what's wrong with my golf swing? Can you help my golf swing? And we're like, what's wrong with the ball? What's the ball doing? That's the most important thing. So it's amazing that so many people are focused on trying to get their swing better, and they'll won't even ask us, or they won't even tell us what's going on with the golf ball. So we're always obsessing about what are your goals, what are your bad shots, what are you trying to fix. We obsess over not trying to make the golf swing look good. We're trying to make the ball perform in a way that's congruent with what they want. So I think it's key, really. So it's dangerous, sort of. If there's any just golfers in this who are looking to get better, don't send a video to someone and say, what's wrong with my golf swing. Always give some context to what shot you're trying to play, what your problems are, and what you're trying to achieve. So that's key. The next thing is communicating concepts. We already talked about that. That's so important. If somebody's got the wrong concept in their mind, they are going to be producing the wrong motion. It's just thinking about somebody who, examples in the golf swing is somebody who thinks that the club should swing back in a straight line and through in a straight line. Well, trying to get them to improve their golf swing, if they're fixed on that concept, is going to be really difficult. So helping them understand the concept before anything else is really important. So asking them what they're trying to do, what are they trying to do in their golf swing? If they're trying to keep the club straight in the back and through swing, or they're trying to keep their head still, educating them on what they're trying to do first is crucial, because then you can understand why some of the motion and some of the patterns that they're doing having as well. So we're always asking, what are you trying to do? What are you thinking about? Because we want to help them understand first what they should be doing. Manage expectations. This is a key one, and managing expectations, because false expectations create disappointed golfers, and we've seen it all the time. We've been there all the time, and we probably still do. We are there still sometimes on the golf course. You'll hit a shot and you're annoyed because you expect something else to happen. And I think when we're coaching golfers, it's our duty as golf coaches to help them manage their expectations. First of all, how long is it going to take to get better? What am I likely to see when I make this change? Am I likely to hit a few poor shots first? Is that okay? And where should I be in terms of hitting greens? What should I be looking at from 6 feet as a make percentage? So just communicating those expectations really helps the golfer manage their state, because that's a whole other thing. Being able to understand, well, okay, if the average tour pro hits 12 greens in regulation, maybe I shouldn't hit 12 in a round, and it's okay to hit 6 if I'm an 18 handicap. So that's another key part, but more from a mental and an emotional stage, that is. But as a golf coach, that we feel that's our duty to communicate that, so they understand how long it's going to take for them to get better, what they should experience, but also what's relevant to them with their stage that they're at as well. And the final one is just show them what they're doing wrong. And I suppose this is great when we bring in some of the guests, because they see the guests and they see themselves in those guests. But what we would do sometimes, if it's just me and Piers presenting, is we often want to just show the problem, because then they can relate and go, that's me, I do that. Instead of just delivering, okay, here's what we want you to do. You fix your slice, you're going to do this, this, and this. We want to always sort of go, well, let's show them what they're doing. Let's show them so they can go, oh, yeah, I definitely do that. I've been trying that, or I've been thinking about that. So we try and show them what they're doing, so they can see themselves in us or in the people who are in the videos as well, really. So we've probably got, again, more of those, but they're the key things that we focus on, that really, I suppose, allows us to get the best out of the viewer online, that we bear in mind when we're creating any piece of content, really.
I think listening to you talk there, Andy, what struck me first of all, and the core of our business is training golf coaches. That's the main thing that we do as a company. The 5 concepts you put on to how to make people better online are actually exactly the same as we teach our coaches to teach offline, in person. And so what you've maybe just described is actually the better coach you are, and you understand this, because it's all about communication and authenticity and making your student feel comfortable, and not overloading them with as much information and showing off how much you know about the swing, but how to make them better and give them a plan. Have even going back to one of your other slides, have a start, a middle, a finish. Leave them with something tangible. It's amazing actually what you're describing in reality is how you've used an online medium to deliver really great coaching, and maybe that's the secret of success actually that you guys have got.
I think the thing is that anyone who's watching this as a coach, you've got all the answers there already, so you know exactly how to coach. Obviously, just people there will be a thirst for your knowledge out there, and people will love what you do. As we said at the beginning, the hardest part is just to actually start, just to get out there and do that. And I think we're going to do something in a bit, aren't we, where we're going to try and encourage a few people to start, maybe, Ben?
Well, let's do that here. So I think that, there's so many different concepts you brought up, which is really fascinating. So I hope people have taken lots of notes, as Piers said. We have to make sure every good student should have a notepad, right? That should be the first thing. So there's fantastic concepts and what you guys have got, but we would be amiss, I guess, as educators and as teachers, not to set a task and some homework. So Piers, I know we talked about this before, but what are we going to get people to do here?
So look, we're pretty sure that the majority of you have some sort of following on social media, even if you're not that active. So whether it's Instagram is obviously always the easiest one, but if it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, if you can actually create a question for your audience, which is whatever it wants to be, how can you help them with their golf game? I want to do some putting videos. What do you want to know about putting or chipping or long game, whatever it is? Pose a question to your current following and make sure that you tag us in it in some way, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or on Twitter, and we'll push it out on our stories as well. So we'll promote it on our stories and hopefully push people back to you, as long as you obviously make sure that you put the content out there. So it's a great way of being accountable. So if you tag us in it, then you have to be accountable then to do it, obviously, because your whole following is going to see this. And I think that's actually the hardest part, getting out there, setting yourself some ideas on what you want to create content wise, but getting the content from the people. So again, if you can go and pose a question, tag us in it, and we'll promote it in some way.
That's fantastic. And obviously I know that you guys have been through this journey. I think it's wonderful that you've kind of giving us your time to explain how you maybe meandered your way through to where you guys are now. And there isn't a straight line, right? There's mistakes, as you said, you duff chips into bunkers when you're trying to show how to hit it over. And I think that's human, and that's what we should be doing. Should never be any failure or fear of failure, I guess. And look where you end up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. It's been pretty exciting for us, and it's great to be able to share the impact that we've had, but also give golf coaches, I suppose, an idea of what they can do with the power of themselves now. That the power's in each individual's hands. The power isn't in the Golf Channel anymore, that you've got to wait to be asked to go on there. We've got our own Golf Channel right here, and all we need to do is just turn it around and press record and put ourselves out to the world. And if people like us and we can deliver some great stuff, then fantastic. We can create, it's a win-win. We create great things to help people, and we can create a revenue and a new business for ourselves that doesn't allow us to, like you say, be just on a driving range, exchanging time for money.
That's fantastic, guys. Listen, I'm so proud of kind of where you guys have got. I love watching kind of the evolution of me and my golf, and I know how much David has supported what you're doing, and he's such a champion, I think, of what you're up to. And I think it's about growing as an industry. And if we all stayed back in the camcorder days, imagine where we'd be. So I think the golf industry is grateful that there are pioneers like you to carry on the great tradition of teaching.
Can I just say one thing about that as well, guys? That you, Ben, and David have been great with us, and I think it's testament to what you guys have done, because anytime you give us the use of your facility, and I think this is the key thing when we talked about collaborations. You guys have wanted to collaborate with us because it's about sharing and helping golfers, and I think if every golf coach had that mentality, the golf game would be in a better place. So we want to thank you for just reaching out to us in the first place and doing what you do, and it's been great to have the opportunity to do some stuff with you guys, so thank you for that.
Oh, well, the feeling is mutual, and thank you both to Andy and Piers. So guys, thank you both for all of your insights, and I'm sure everybody knows how to find you on social media. If you haven't, then you haven't listened for the last hour, so make sure you check out the work that Piers and Andy are doing. Make sure you take up the challenge that Piers set, so post a video, tag the guys, tag us, we'll make sure we push it out through our channels. And start, right? I think that's probably the biggest message here, is get out there tomorrow and do something with that knowledge. And just as a close, look, if there's more information that you want on Golfzon Leadbetter University, there's actually a course that we've developed on a certification on how to teach online, and we were quite conscious that there's information that Piers and Andy have got, which you guys at home as coaches will find helpful. So if you're interested in maybe studying a little bit more about how to be an online coach, there's a Golfzon Leadbetter certification which you can take, and you'll find us at leadbetter.com. You'll find that course. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much indeed. On behalf of Andy and Piers and myself, thank you for listening. Good luck. And as David says, those who dare to teach must never cease to learn. So another learning opportunity for everybody, and there'll be another session coming up in our virtual summit very soon. So thank you very much indeed.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.